Hi everybody, Morgana Galaxia here. Welcome to my channel. So glad that you're with me today. Hope you're having a great day. So, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough week watching everything unfold and what's going on with the Supreme Court and all that. The hearing that was on the other day was really entertaining if you didn't watch it. Man, one bomb after another from Cassidy Hutchinson. So, she really kind of connected some dots that needed to be connected. The knowledge of weapons in the crowd, the knowledge that Trump wanted to lead that insurrection, possibly enter the Capitol building, the violence in the limousine, the knowledge of, his lawyers and those around him, that what they were doing was illegal, all the requests for pardons, etc., etc. So one of the things I'm going to read on today is Pat Cipollone. So as President Trump's lawyer and one of the main guys who kept trying to stop Trump from doing all these illegal things to mitigate his behavior, the damage he would cause, stop him from breaking the law, this guy is in the know about everything. Not just the insurrection, I'm sure everything during the whole administration, but, obviously the council or the committee will focus, they've subpoenaed him, right? So assuming he eventually comes in, they'll focus on the riot in January 6th, but it would be a very good opportunity to start asking about some of the other issues, depending on if, I guess, they have jurisdiction, if they're able to ask those kind of questions. So anyways, the first place we're going today is Pat Cipollone. I imagine, I don't want to ask if he's going to show up because I imagine he will. I wouldn't be surprised, like they're wondering on TV, if he's just waiting for that subpoena as cover to go in and talk to them, because he clearly didn't agree with Trump's activities. So, I'm going to assume for the moment that he is going to show up. But let's just take a look at Pat Cipollone. Pat Cipollone, what do we want to ask? I guess I want to know, what's he gonna reveal to the committee? Once he's in there and they're asking him questions, I'd like to know, what's his testimony going to look like? What's it going to mean for the committee? All right, let's see. Give it one more shuffle, and let's take a look at Pat Cipollone. All right, put my glasses on and bring you guys down. Pat Cipollone, what's your testimony going to be looking like for the committee? Don't got a lot of room. Let's just leave it right here. Just a sec. Okay, I'm bringing you up. So we're starting off here with Pat Cipollone, and I want to know, what kind of information is he going to be giving the committee? So we're starting off here with the Four of Cups. And I basically see this as him just kind of waiting for that subpoena to come in. He didn't really want to show up voluntarily. He was just kind of biding his time, waiting for that subpoena to compel him. So he was waiting for that before he presents himself. His challenge is the Queen of Cups. So interesting. So the Queen is a very nurturing, emotionally giving queen, but this is in his challenge position. So I think what's going on here is that he was too amenable to Trump, too forgiving of Trump. So when he was Trump's lawyer, seeing all the craziness going on in that administration, all the wackadoodle things that Trump wanted to do, right? This guy was in every conversation. He is familiar with Trump's thinking, with the planning, who was involved, right? He knew everything. And, you know, of course, as Trump's lawyer, it's not like he's going to go running and tattletaling on Trump every 5 minutes. But this card is telling us that he deferred to Trump too much. He was more interested in satisfying Trump. How should I say? Sort of deferring to his ego, deferring to his demands. Overly trying to appease him, to satisfy him, to build him up, to protect him. All those qualities that normally would be very wonderful. But they're his challenge, which means that he didn't maintain his ethics. He didn't set firm boundaries for himself. He didn't refuse to let Trump break the law, or withdraw out of questionable conversations or questionable planning, right? He was so involved with placating Trump, pleasing Trump, making sure that he was there for Trump, everything for Trump, being that sycophant, basically, that he wasn't able to kind of walk that straight and narrow. Now, clearly, the testimony of Cassidy Hutchinson told us that, at least with the riot, he was sort of on the right side, right? He didn't agree with it. He didn't think Trump should go there. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. So he was, had the right sort of opinion, but he put that aside. He put that on the back burner. He didn't stand his ground. He didn't maintain his own ethics, his own morals, because he was too busy placating Trump, right? Fulfilling, nurturing Trump. So that's his biggest challenge. They're going to ask him, how come you didn't, do this? How come you didn't say no to that? How come you didn't turn him in, or contact the FBI, or, let Homeland Security know some of these things were going on? Why didn't you protect the nation? And he's going to essentially say, well, I'm Trump's lawyer. I'm the president's lawyer. I was there to protect him. I was there to, serve him. And that's going to be a big challenge, because this wasn't some regular president. This was a renegade, a law-breaking huckster, and he still gave him the same protection that he would have a normal law-abiding president. So I think that's going to come back to bite his ass. All right. So in the sky, what is he going to have to face, Pat Cipollone? The Chariot. So he's going to be being pulled into action. Things are going to go really quickly for him. So I expect, now that he's received his subpoena, I kind of doubt he's going to fight it in court and try and time it out like some of the others, like Mark Meadows, have done, right? And he could do that, ignore the subpoena, wind it through the courts, run out the clock. But as a lawyer, maybe he understands a little better than the others his obligations. This card is telling me he's going to appear relatively quickly. Things are going to start rolling forward really quickly. Things are in action. This is going to be putting a lot in action. And that's, they're going to have a lot of questions for him. Probably, things are just going to be rolling really fast. So I suspect, based on that he's not really going to try and drag out his subpoena, that he'll show and he'll respond to questions, and it's going to get some balls rolling. Foundationally, at the bottom of this question with Pat Cipollone, what kind of information is he given here? We have the 9 of Cups. So, this is about having plenty of abundance, plenty of money, plenty of resources, and wanting to share it, okay? Wanting to share it around, being generous and giving it out. So this is at the very heart of the question. What kind of information is he going to be giving? What kind of testimony is he going to give? So this, to me, would indicate he's going to be aware and testifying to the doling out of money, the doling out of resources, basically how things get paid for, how the wealth gets shared, you know, who's getting money. This could, okay, this could also very much be about who asked for pardons, who wants their protection, who wants their share of what Trump has to give out. One of the most valuable things that he can give out as president, right, are those pardons. I think that's going to be a huge line of questioning for Pat Cipollone, is the pardon question. Who was Trump given a pardon to? The pardon scheme. One of the things we heard in a very brief snippet of Jared Kushner's testimony is he was working on the pardons, trying to get those pardons through. What does Pat Cipollone know about that? Who were they going to give those pardons to? And in addition to that, maybe some money issues. You know, where was all this funding going? You know, you're Trump's lawyer. He's, you know, getting all these donations, you know, supposedly for his reelection campaign. But, you know, I'm guessing Cipollone has a lot of information in that regard as well. So what presidential resources, pardons, money, what have you, was being doled out? Boom, boom, boom. That's going to be probably some of the very foundational questions that they're going to ask him about. So his past energy is the Three of Wands. So that's about looking overseas, okay? So this is giving me two feelings here. Number one, they're probably going to start asking about Russia, ties to Russia. You know, you're his lawyer. What did you think about, his communications with Putin? You know, the election interference the last time around. Any issues with Russia, I think, are going to be there. In addition, though, I have a feeling that this is also telling us Pat probably wanted to leave a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if we heard out of him multiple times, I was close to quitting. I was close to leaving. I threatened to quit over this. I threatened to resign over this. There was probably so many things that Trump was doing that Cipollone was like, you do this, I'm out. You do that, I'm out. He wanted one foot out the door. So I think that that's going to be something we hear from him. But again, with the overseas nature of this, looking abroad, I have a feeling that Russia is going to come up. What did Pat know about this or that in regards to Trump's overseas ties? So again, Russia could be Ukraine, the whole thing with Giuliani. Overseas relationships. What does Pat know about different overseas issues that they want to ask about? Okay. And then I'm going to end Cipollone's reading with his last card. What's the energy he's going to be moving into in the future? And we have the King of Swords. Ooh, showed up reversed. So at minimum, he's going to be under some really difficult questioning. They're going to be asking stuff that he doesn't want to answer. He might put himself at risk by lying, by perjuring himself, because normally this is a very truthful king. Upside down, untruthful. So he, I hope he doesn't, but he could put himself at risk that way. He's going to have a lot of difficulty answering their questions. He might even push back and claim that some of those questions are unjust, that he doesn't have to answer them. But whatever his arguments about executive privilege or whatever privilege arguments he makes, they're going to be not well grounded here. So whatever legal positions he tries to make, he's going to be vulnerable to those. They're not going to be very strong. They're going to be overturned. He might perjure himself. He might not really be a very cooperative witness. He might still try and hide. He might still try and protect Trump. He might still try and hide information. So he's going to be a tricky one for them to interview. So we'll see if some things come out that look like BS, or he's not being as forthcoming as he should, or he's trying to stand behind some shaky legal arguments. All right, upside down, justice. You know, this isn't the justice card, but this king is the king of justice. He wields truth and justice. And this is reversed for Pat Cipollone. So there's definitely some questionable behavior, questionable legal reasoning with this guy. He's going to be at risk. He's going to be at risk. His testimony is not going to be legally sound. So I think I'm going to leave it there for Pat Cipollone. We'll see what happens. We'll read him again after he gives some testimony. Let's move next briefly to Mark Meadows. So, you know, Adam Schiff said yesterday that Mark Meadows was in hiding from the January 6th Commission. I think that was a telling statement, you know. We haven't heard much about his whereabouts, what he's doing, who he's talking to. And Cassidy's testimony had a lot to do with Mark Meadows, right? Kind of tying him into that core circle of accomplices of Trump who were trying to overturn this election. So, you know, that group who wanted to meet at the Wilshire Hotel in the War Room, who are really planning this, he wanted to attend that meeting. He wanted to be a part of that group. And it was Cassidy Hutchinson was like, don't show up. Oh my God, don't show up. It's a bad idea. But he couldn't manage to not fully, so he called in, supposedly. So he's being tied in as one of the co-conspirators, that he, with Trump, pushed some of the things Trump wanted to do. You know, one of the most telling things was when Trump said that Mike Pence deserved it, right? When they were talking about the hang Mike Pence chance. Mike deserves it. They're not doing anything wrong. And when other people were pushing back on that and going to Mark Meadows saying, Mark, we got to do something, we got to do something. What was Mark's response? You heard him. He doesn't want to do anything. He thinks Mike deserves it. So Mark Meadows accepted that. He accepted that response from Trump as his response. You heard him. He doesn't want to do anything. There was no, you know, let's try and get Trump to do this or do that or try and coerce him to make a statement or, you know, none of that. He happily accepted Trump's call on that they weren't doing anything wrong. Mike Pence deserved it. Meadows says, you heard him. So his own executive assistant was disgusted by his behavior, felt like he was not fully engaged in it, not fully caring, not showing any emotion around it. She got frustrated with that. And it was interesting. She knew she had to snap him out of it. So how does she do that? Do you know where Jim is? Jim Jordan. Why would Mark Meadows be concerned with Jim Jordan outside of just a general, like, you know, he should be worried about every congressman or senator in the building, right, that's being attacked. He would be worried about all of their safety. No, Jim Jordan in particular. Well, we might find out, and I'll read on Jim Jordan at some time because I want to know if Jim Jordan was one of the organizers in the House Senate side to let these rioters in. Because come on, we know what's going on here, right? Trump wanted to show up at the Capitol with the rioters armed behind him, storm into that chamber and assume his power with, you know, all the senators and congressmen behind him on one side, all the rioters behind him on the other side, and he wanted to take that power. And I suspect that Jim Jordan was one of the organizers on the congressional side of that plan, which is probably why he was talking to Mark Meadows, and we might find this out in further hearings. So what do we want to know about Mark Meadows? I want to know if is he going to get indicted? Is he going to be found to be one of the co-conspirators? And will he be indicted? What will happen to Mark Meadows? What is the end game for him? His end result? Is he going to be indicted? Will he face indictments? Will he face indictments? Will he face indictments of any kind out of this insurrection? All right, let's bring you down for this. I'll give you one more shuffle. Will Mark Meadows face indictments? Okay. Mark Meadows. Oof. Okie dokie. Well, this is a pretty clear little read. I'll bring you up. So Mark Meadows, we're starting off here with the world, okay? So he's facing an ending and a new beginning. So his life is changing and it's on full display. The whole world is watching. He's going to be infamous after this process is over. He may be in hiding like Shiv says, but again, Mark Meadows was one of the major topics of that last testimony. Everyone's paying attention to him. It's being televised, and he's facing a grand ending, okay? His challenge is the Seven of Pentacles. So this is telling me that he's being reviewed. He's under investigation. They're looking at a bunch of different things that he's done. And this is a karma card. You reap what you sow. What you plant, you have to harvest later on. So all those things that he did for Trump, all the questionable, mealy mouth, maybe illegal, whatever things that he did during this administration, they're looking them over, they're investigating them, they're reviewing them, they're seeing what they can pursue, what they can't pursue. So review, investigation. This is his challenge now that eyes are on him, attention's on him. Again, attention is on Mark Meadows. And there's definitely with these coins, there's a financial aspect to that as well. And we know that Trump sort of funneled $1 million into one of Mark Meadows' charities. So that's going to be on the table too, something they're looking at. What is in the sky with Mark Meadows? What is he inevitably going to have to come face to face with? Boom, his downfall. Hell yeah. 10, that's a 10, right? 10 of Swords. So this is the downfall card. They're bringing him down and they're using all of his actions against him to do it. He has committed multiple acts that they're going to use to nail him. All right. So that's pretty self-explanatory. On the bottom of the spread here, what's sort of foundational to the question? We have the Lovers. So, this is him and Trump, his sort of relationship with Trump, the partnership there, the commitment that he made to him, the loyalty that he had for him, the, I don't know if affection's the right word, but maybe the respect can't possibly be the right word either. He might have been in awe of Trump's power, his prestige, his money, right? He was, if this is Trump here in his full power, here's Meadows fawning over him. So it's that sort of fawning relationship. He was smitten with Trump. And that's at the very foundation. He liked what Trump had to offer. He was picking up what Trump was putting down. He liked the power. He liked the decisiveness. He liked the volatility. He probably liked the little shadiness and the pushing the borders and this kind of thing. Him and Trump, simpatico. In the past, again, sort of reinforcing the same thing with this emperor. In the past, this is Trump as the emperor. And I think it's also telling us that Meadows supported that. So Trump wanted to assume more power than he had, right? We know this time and time and time again. He even said it himself. As president, I can do anything. He wanted to be the emperor. He wanted to be the king. He wanted full 100% authority to do anything he wanted as president. And this also points to just the sort of power that he was willing to wield, that he was willing to not take other opinions into consideration, not, clear things with his lawyers, not, really care about how it affects other people, right? My way or the highway. It's just that, that assuming full power kind of element of the emperor. There is no other authority beyond the emperor, wanting to be above the law, right? So this is telling us that in the past, this is kind of what Meadows bought into. He really bought into this. He was supportive of that. He was assisting in that. He liked the idea of his president being the emperor, and he was going to be, his right-hand man. So he was down for that, shall we say. What's coming up in his future is the Fool. The Fool. So in its best sense, the Fool can be, starting a new journey, full of excitement and taking a leap of faith. Of course, on the other hand, it just represents the fool and his foolish behavior. So for Meadows, I feel kind of both, at some point he's going to have to take a leap of faith. And I feel like this has to do with him shirking that subpoena and really testing the Department of Justice. That was a bit of leap of faith for him. Now, he has already done that. He's still going through that process. But I feel like he's taking risks. He is taking risks that he doesn't know what the end result's going to be. If it's going to work for him. It's sort of like just doing it on faith that things are going to work out. But you can fall off the cliff that way. And he's doing this out of foolishness. He's not making smart decisions. He's not making wise decisions. He's casting his chances to the wind. He's gambling, rolling the dice. He doesn't know kind of what his next steps are going to be. He doesn't really know where he's going to end up, what he's doing. He's kind of lost. He knows that he's on a brand new journey that he's never been on before. He doesn't know where he's going. And he's not making smart decisions. So I think what we can expect from Mark Meadows are some missteps, some mistakes, some stumbles, some foolish behavior, and maybe, finally falling off the edge of the cliff there to his imaginary doom, shall we say. Downfall inevitably coming for him. So that's Mark Meadows. I think I'm going to leave it there for today. I don't want my video to be too long, but I'm going to come back again soon because we got to talk about the Supreme Court, right? We all knew Roe versus Wade wasn't going to be it, but man, we didn't think it was going to be rolling this fast. Boom, boom, boom. Contraception blows my mind. Gay marriage, EPA power, what have you. I find it interesting. It's funny. Clarence Thomas was the one who kind of started cluing us in on some of the other things we're going to be going for. And I noticed something very conspicuous that wasn't on his list, and that was interracial marriage. I think if he wasn't in an interracial marriage, that could very well have been one of the items that was on his list. So we'll see if the court starts fiddling around with that. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I'll be doing the Supreme Court soon. Until then, everybody, stay safe out there, stay out of trouble, and keep your chins up, right? See you guys in a few more days. Bye, everybody.